cloth masks aren't intended to stop you from catching COVID. It's to stop you from giving COVID to other people.
Stupid argument. Stupid conversation.
It doesn't.
You know what?
All right, good job.
Wait,
He got me.
Can you elaborate?
He got me.
We all go home.
He got me. Wait.
Can we actually have a real
wait. Milwaukee's was making a great point. I want him to make. What was that? Say that again.
Can you elaborate on why it's stupid?
Yeah, I'd like to hear it.
Have you watched the Kim Potter trial? Have you seen these idiots?
So, what about the Kim Potter trial has to do with cloth masks and COVID?
Because they're wearing them.
Mask piece in between them. They're wearing their mask. They're taking them off every fucking couple minutes. It makes no sense.
You're still muted.
Milwaukee, speak truth to power.
I just said CTV. Let's hear good topic. And if Dylan wants to fuck, we'll fuck.
What? Hell yeah.
That's fucking escalated.
Hell yeah.
There's a Mr. Dylan Burns in our midst now. Some of y'all ain't paying attention to the room, which is why I have to do it for you. Dylan Burns, welcome to the room. How you doing, sir?
Hello, everybody. I'm happy. I'm happy to be here. As always.
You sound
thrilled.
Well, I didn't recognize him with the eye patch.
Thank you. That's punished, Burns.
I really don't care, but that's not the point. A lot of people think this vaccine is going to make people not able to have kids.
What?
Okay. No. I know where he's going, and I understand what he's saying. But here's the question, okay? When I was conceived, my mom was miscarrying a lot. So the doctor...
Legionnaire Blitz, thanks for the 5 gifted tier 1s. I appreciate it. Holy shit. That really means a lot.
Okay. So they gave her this estrogen, and it worked. Okay. I was born. I went through the whole 9 months, and now I can't have children. And I can't have children because they gave her estrogen, and they found out 20 years later what that did to the babies. Okay. So my question is what is the vaccine going to do to you in 20 years? Nobody knows.
You're alive because of that. Like, I don't understand. Like, what? This is...
Well, but...
Nobody knows. No, we don't know that yet. Like, I'm not saying that we shouldn't, like, watch those things. Like, I'm against the mandates, too, but, like, I don't know if I'm against, like, just making vaccines. Like, you can just choose not to get it.
Okay,
so
but
Dylan,
the National Football League said,
Dylan,
no, I don't want to take this
oh my goodness. You see what happens here?
Kids.
It's amazing.
Okay, but here's the problem with the vaccine.
Oh my, it just keeps... Hold on, what is happening here? This is like...
Just say fuck. Just say fuck.
Fuck!
Fuck!
All right. So, Dylan, we've been all over on a lot of different topics. We've talked about gun safety. We talked about vaccines. We talked about all kinds of shit, man. I see you jumped in here. So what is something that's on your mind? That's right. I'm putting you on the spot.
And he's away from the mic.
He's away from the mic. You see what happens? You see what happens? You try to be nice to somebody when they jump in here, right? Just like I do with the rest of you. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? What's on your mind? And then you try to bring it back around to them, and the next thing you know, right, they're walking away from the mic. Taking a poop. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I can't believe it, chat. I can't believe it. I'm amazed. I'm amazed.
CTV, to me, this is the problem with the vaccine. It's not a vaccine. It's an inhibitor. We used to make vaccines. You get the chickenpox vaccine, you'll never get chickenpox. Okay?
Not true.
You took a vaccine for chickenpox?
That's not true. That's why we see mumps making like a fucking comeback, even though MMR.
Yeah, because they don't do it anymore.
I just got
I have a scar on my arm.
Chickenpox parties.
Okay.
Let me ask you this: what's the first documented uses of vaccines?
The most popular
Washington.
player, the
Isn't it
MVP
Washington?
of the league.
Yeah, it is. It's George
He's not
Washington at Valley
taking it.
Forge. They were having a pretty bad measles.
What vaccine?
Or measles, okay.
They were having a pretty bad measles outbreak. So what they did is they took the pus from the bumps of the infected people, and then they would make cuts in the arms of the healthy people and put the pus into it so that their body absorbed it slower. And that is one of the first forms and examples that we have for vaccines, right? So
Inoculation, yeah.
So all a vaccine is a way for the body to be able to absorb the thing more slowly, so that it can develop the antibodies necessary to fight it off the next time around, so that it is not as deadly, right? So like, I get what you're saying with regard to COVID. It's more like a therapy than a vaccine, because the thing is a flu and it constantly is evolving, just like the flu vaccines every year,
Right.
But it's still like, it still forces your body to develop antibodies, but also through that too, you can increase spread, because now you do still become somewhat active as far as being able to spread, so far as I understand, going through the sickness process. So,
Right.
like, it's a double-edged sword with how a society decides to attack this thing.
Right. But when they say,
Roger, what do you think?
the non-vaccinated need to protect the vaccinated, okay?
I would say that
your language like that.
I would.
Okay, I've missed everything. I was in the bathroom. So are these like a rational group of interesting human beings, or what am I missing? Did I miss something, or are these all? I'm sure these are probably very smart bunch.
You're not gonna. It's gonna make you not have kids or whatever. Like we don't know that yet.
But and
Yeah,
like
if they
there
got
are
cancer, we don't know.
dude, there are tens of vaccines that you've already gotten in your life that all have the same side effects. The 1 in a million chance of Bell's palsy or infertility or whatever. I mean, everything in medicine is give and take. The thing is that what it prevents far outweighs the risk.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to say that when COVID first started,
the NFL MVP of the league this year said, "I'm not taking it. I don't want it. I want to have kids."
What's his background?
Wait. Okay, why does that matter?
Because they're afraid that it's going to do something to the genes of the baby, and you're going to end up having, mongoloids.
All right.
Okay, wait. Okay, a lot of people have fears, right? I'm afraid that that Santa Claus is gonna steal me in the night, or the boogeyman is gonna stab me while I'm walking down a dark alleyway. That doesn't mean the fear is based in anything. Is there any evidence for this? Like
that is. If you go get a shot, there's nothing in comparison to you believing in the fucking boogeyman.
Well,
what are you talking about?
If you're saying, wait, come on, let me respond to one thing. You're saying that a person, a sports star, not a medical expert, said that they didn't want to take. Well, I'm talking about the other person who brought this up. So he said that a sports star said they didn't want to get the vaccine because they said it could affect their ability to have kids, and I said, like, is there any evidence based in this fear? And then none was provided. I'm like, okay, well, I have a lot of fears too. I'm afraid of heights. I'm afraid of sharks. Like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, what is the fear? What's the fear?
Proof. I do have some proof.
Okay.
You want it?
Oh,
sure.
You're afraid
How
of heights,
often do you watch TV?
Why are you allowed to walk in
Hold on. Listen. I'm going to be honest with the both of you. The both of you have the poorest mic qualities. So when you start talking over each other, it just becomes like crazy. Okay. So Dylan was asking Raven the question. Milwaukee, if you'll stand by for a minute, right? Raven, respond to Dylan.
Okay. How often have you turned on the TV and a commercial comes on and says, "We're with Johnson & Johnson, and if you took this medicine, you might have a claim if it caused cerebral palsy." Okay, we hear it all the time. They're putting stuff in our bodies that they have no clue what it's going to do down the line. Okay, now it doesn't mean it's going to happen. Okay, I'm just saying we have shown that it does happen. And so if somebody says, "I don't want to take that risk," I get that's fine.
But that's not why we're saying that. The reason why we were pushing back is because one of you, I don't know which one, but somebody literally said it's going to make you not have kids in the future by taking the vaccine.
Because there's
that would have been Milwaukee. Yeah.
Wait,
Dylan, I just want to settle your fears. It's not Santa Claus that's going to steal you; it's Krampus.
Krampus. Well, thank you very much. I mean, I guess you could say that about basically any medicine. And so my thing is, though, you shouldn't have a fear of some random thing happening to you until it's been shown out. And what I can say is many of the things that we're talking about when it comes to heart disease, that was an issue many people had when it came to the vaccine. The effects of COVID on the heart has been shown to be generally much more severe than the effects of the vaccine. In many instances, the side effects that do come with the vaccine are 10 times worse when you actually talk about the effects COVID can have on you. A lot of people talk about COVID just on the death numbers, like over 800,000 dead Americans. A lot of people don't talk about the side effects that come with having COVID. Many people have reported terrible, terrible side effects that we don't know if or could possibly be with them for the rest of their lives. Which, I mean, like, that's something that isn't regularly discussed.
Like scar tissue in the lungs.
Yep.
One thing you said was that the side effects of the vaccine are 10 times worse than the side effects with COVID.
No.
I'm pretty sure
you
got those backwards.
Yeah, the side effects of COVID are 10 times worse than what we get with the vaccine. Yes, that's what
there you go. Okay, just want to clarify that.
Okay, and yes, education helps on stuff like that. My doctor, I asked him, I said, look, I had 2 shots. Do I really need to do this booster? Okay, and he said, go do it. He goes, I cannot calculate on my calculator the chances of something going wrong. That's how extreme it is. So I will go down and I will get the booster, okay? Because I do understand that I am 65 years old, okay? I have peripheral artery disease. So I got all kinds of things that can happen due to the COVID, because COVID causes clots, and I've already lost one leg. I don't need to lose everything else, okay? Or a blood clot in the brain, okay? So I'll go take it because I am at risk, okay? And I will accept that. Whoever wants to take it, I accept that. It's a good thing. It's, because the chances of it hurting you is slow. But I understand people's fears because of everything else that's caused problems years down the line, And
I mean, most of those commercials you see on TV are for class action lawsuits, man. I'm trying to be a part of the class action lawsuit. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get some money.
I remember my father. He's somebody. He has lung cancer and he's quite old, right? And I remember hearing from him some stuff that was skeptical about the vaccine, like, oh, I heard that it did this to you or it did that to you, or it's an experiment. And he was saying stuff that was just, it was like, Dad, the stuff you're saying is completely unproven. And I'm hearing this from a man who is literally probably one of the most vulnerable people when it comes to COVID. He has lung cancer and he's old, right? And he smokes, and he's been smoking for years. So he out of all the people who can catch COVID, he's probably one of the worst people that could possibly catch COVID. And so when I hear like these ideas, they're like, oh, like COVID can make you impotent, or the vaccine can make you impotent. It could do this to you. It could do that to you. I guess I think we should be like really careful with saying what it can and can't do until we know for sure. Like you can say like we don't completely know all the effects of COVID of the vaccine are going to be. Okay, you could make that comment kind of, right? But we 100% know a lot of the side effects that do come with COVID that are, again, 10 times worse. So I just want to bring it back into perspective that we probably shouldn't be playing guessing games with medicine that's saving lives,
Now,
Well,
I take
but
it
you
you have
also
that on
know
both
that a
sides.
lot of people come down with COVID and they never have any problem at all, right? There are people that are at risk, and you know what? I completely support you making a decision that seems responsible for your situation, But for somebody who's in their late 20s or their early 30s or even their early 40s, I think it's probably reasonable to just be like, you know what? Let's just see what happens. Because there's a lot of cases where it comes down and it's completely asymptomatic. You develop a little bit of a natural immunity, and this actually contributes to an overall social impact that is actually good when you spread your antibodies around to people. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that we don't know a lot about what's going on with this virus in terms of how it works because of the lockdown on the information that's been researched about it for 55 years, 75 years now. And the fact that it's an emergency use authorization, all of that has a real bad a real bad smell to it.
Well,
and
isn't it no longer emergency? Isn't it just approved? Isn't it approved now by the FDA? It isn't just like emergency use.
Well,
no, it's approved by the FDA.
I don't know if all of them are, but at least like
Maybe
one or two of
Pfizer.
them.
I know Moderna is.
Pfizer and Moderna, yeah.
But Dylan, you have that on both sides. Where I know a gentleman that he served for several years in the Marines, and he's getting payouts from Agent Orange he was poisoned by the water on base, and he's gung-ho about getting all his vaccines. And it's like, at what point do you question what Uncle Sam is telling you?
Well, right. We already know the burn pits will be the next.
Well, again, like there's nothing wrong with questioning it. It's just don't make up crazy shit about it.
Well, yeah, I have no problem with questioning. Let's be clear, though. We're not just questioning Uncle Sam. We're questioning Uncle Sam, basically every other government in the world, the vast majority of medical professionals, or educational institutions. We're not just questioning Uncle Sam here. I'm sure if you asked German scientists about the effects of Agent Orange, they wouldn't have told you, oh, just consume that like it's cookie dough, right?
Well, it's not a complete consensus all across the world, Dylan. There's a lot of discussion about this in a lot of different circles, and some conflicting research going on too.
Well, okay, but you gotta be specific though, because the vast majority believe that the vaccine is effective, that COVID is deadly, and the vast majority of the experts will say that you should get vaccinated in the vast majority of cases. And in the instance you were describing, in the example you were giving earlier,
you shut up so I could talk?
No, and in the example you were saying earlier, you were talking about like 20, 30, 40-year-olds.
No.
Now, in the example you were giving, right?
Oh, you don't ever tell me to shut up.
No, but you told me to shut up, so why can't I tell you to shut up? Anyway, in the 20, 30, and 40-year-olds, the example you were giving, we should also understand that those people might, even though they have a low likelihood of dying, they can still deal with those long-term health effects on one level, and next, they can spread it to other people too. For example, I'm 20, I should be fine, but let's say I catch it, and I give it to a friend of my father's, and then they give it to my father. I never even directly talked to I directly gave it to my father or anything, but I indirectly gave it to my father, and then my father could lose his life or have a bunch of health problems down the line because of that. The problem when I think of young people and catching COVID isn't mainly about those young people dying, even though those cases do happen, or even necessarily about the long-term health effects. It's about their ability to spread it to other people, because young people are active in the economy right now.
But the problem is, and I take it that you work at a hospital?
Do I work at a hospital?
He is the hospital.
No, I do not. I do not work at a hospital.
Okay, because I know a lot of nurses are not wanting to take it, and it makes
we literally got one that's in the chat though. Ranger does.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I could also give you stats on that too, man. I didn't get vaccinated the first year that the vaccine was available. I was incredibly skeptical. I had all these same talking points. I literally, like, until the evidence came out from my own company that I trust, I didn't believe it until then. And then once that started coming out, it's just a slippery slope.
Right. But if you, like you said, Dylan, you're going to take the vaccine so your father doesn't get it. The problem is, you take the vaccine and even though you don't get sick and you come across somebody that's got COVID, you can still carry it and give it to your dad anyway, because the vaccine doesn't stop the transmission. Okay.
I agree.
And
it reduces it though.
Huh?
And welcome everyone. We've got Stardust here in this chat with us. If you don't know who Stardust or Dylan Burns is, and I'd say you're probably pretty new to the Twitch politics scene, I'm hosting here, CTV. Welcome, Stardust. How are you doing tonight, hon?
Doing great. My Discord is lagging, so I'm just trying to fix that. But how are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. I'm doing very excellent. Enjoying the conversation.
How are you, Mr. Wet Towel?
I'm doing very well. Very well.
Sorry.
Hello, Stardust.
The joke's not funny anymore. I'm sorry. I'll stop.
It's okay.
Anyway, Milwaukee's best. You had something you wanted to say a minute ago, so I'm going to give you the floor for a minute so you can say what's on your mind. I think you just unmuted yourself. Or I think you just muted.
Yeah, you muted.
Yeah, you muted yourself.
Milwaukee.
That's all right. Say it anyways.
The NFL just revised all their plans saying the COVID isn't a big deal. Because it's not. Anyone who's asymptomatic, this new virus, this Omnicron, isn't a big deal. What do you feel about that? Even though it is spreading across the country, it really isn't hurting anyone.
You know, I've never thought about it that way before. I'm gonna have to consider that. But as far as I know, I don't think the NFL have declared that COVID is not a big deal. And I think 800,000 people are dead. So I do think it can. I think it can hurt people. I do think it can.
I'm pretty sure the NFL said that. There was a statement.
So wait, are we trusting the NFL?
The NFL is allowed
Are
anyone.
you not Stardust?
We're trusting the NFL over medical doctors?
Yes.
Are we talking about the
NFL
National Football
said
League?
you
We're
do
talking
not
about an
have to get
American
tested for this
pastime.
stupid crap. It is over.
Football.
Yeah, I mean, like, why else do we tolerate all these different colored bands if we're not allowing the NFL to make decisions for us, right?
Sure, yeah, they are just as important of a alphabet company as any of these other 3-letter agencies.
Ranger's just sitting there. He's like, "What fucking Twilight Zone black hole did I just fucking run down
And
here?"
your nose
is a curd.
Okay.
Did the eye patch guy come back?
EA is saying no.
Upper right, man.
1 second. Whoever just gifted me 100
is a curd.
gift subs, I have to thank you. I don't know why you would gift 100 gift subs for this and keep it completely anonymous. And Electro Retro with the 20 gift subs on top of it. I don't know why you guys would do such a thing and be so gracious to me today, but I actually think that you guys might actually be able to send a tweet in my name, chat sends tweet. Electro Retro is officially the leader and most likely to get the Twitter follow today. And whoever gifted 100, you guys, I don't know why you would do that. Jesus holy fucking Christ. But thank you. Can't say the Lord's name in vain. I'm sorry. Please don't send me to hell. Thank you so much. Jesus Christ, thank you. Wow.
Is a curd.
That's really, thank you. We've been actually seeing like a drought of gift subs recently. We were down to almost like 600 like subs overall, which is down from 1,200. So like
is a curd.
That means a whole lot. Thank you. I'm gonna get back to this because this is mega content right now. But holy shit.
Nations in America say
a curd is
you. And that's a kind of a big deal.
True. What's the other organization?
But here's the one thing about COVID that got my ass and it's all chapped up is Fauci saying you need to wear a mask.
Yep.
And then saying
you okay.
Need to wear one. And then saying you needed to wear 2. And then saying you needed to wear 3.
Nobody is wearing
an N95
mask. Okay, an N95 mask blocks 95% of the virus. Okay, they're putting bandanas around their face or a dust mask, that you get at Home Depot. Okay, do you know how much virus that blocks? Mm-hmm. Maybe 1%. That's it. Those masks do not work. You have to have an N95 mask.
Right.
Okay, for it to work.
Which are incredibly expensive and prioritized for healthcare workers, if I'm not mistaken, Rude.
A lot of I'm pretty sure that's true. I think a lot of the thing where like Fauci was anti-mask early on, a lot of it had to do with supply chain issues. I think it had to do specifically with the fact that he and a lot of other medical professionals were really scared that what was going to happen is that everybody was going to rush to buy up all the N95 masks and scalp them on eBay and shit, and then the medical professionals would either have to pay outrageous prices to get these masks, or they would just be shit out of luck. And these are the people on the front lines dealing with COVID patients.
Well, that's not the only thing. Like we've had there's been other like studies, like whenever we've had other airborne outbreaks like that are spreading, or like airborne illnesses that are spreading, and they've like basically come to the agreement that like masking and all that stuff isn't really going to help unless we actually had medical grade masks and stuff like that, and like.
Hey Dylan, so I found the
conservative. This is like the only case where we decided to lock down.
Yeah, Dylan, I found the conservative argument for you on abortion. Are you ready?
Oh, is there a conservative argument on abortion? I had no clue. Please let me know.
Yeah. Here's the conservative argument.
Let's fucking roll.
I think here's the cheat code, right? We're actually okay with the states deciding to allow it. I think that, I think that we're good with allowing states to allow it, right? Well, and if people want to go get an abortion, they go get an abortion.
Well, that is the conservative position on abortion for those who want to overturn Roe versus Wade, because if you overturn Roe versus Wade, then it would be a state's issue again. It would because some people, if you overturn Roe versus Wade, it means that states would be able to decide.
Okay, so then fine. We're actually okay with it being allowed federally too. Sure, why not?
Wait,
we don't care. We just want people to be able to have an abortion if they want.
Safely.
So then
safely.
you don't. So you want to protect Roe versus Wade? I agree. Hey, we're on the same side, CTV.
No, I think that the court cases needs to go away, and we need to have it just fucking codified, where like we don't have to worry about this dumbass argument. Just fucking get it done, right?
Yeah, I think we need to unite conservatives in support of Roe versus Wade. I agree.
See, yeah, and you know what? I think that that's what we need to carry on. You know why? You know what's going to happen in 20, 30 years, Dylan? Do you know what's going to happen?
What's going to happen?
There's not going to be anybody carrying forward the ideology that abortion is the way to solve this problem. You know why?
Why is that?
Because there just won't be the people. All the people that are born will be ones that appreciated life.
Sure. They're just going to abort all their babies.
True. Yeah. I've never thought about it that way.
You're going to say 100% of babies are going to get aborted?
Is a curd.
You never know.
100%.
You never know. But I would like to talk about something earlier.
There's going to be a new amendment stating that if you're raped or violated, you can abort your baby after X amount of weeks.
Yeah, but you have to have
wise words
it when it happened. Otherwise, you're going to have women say, "Hey, I was raped last, 4 months ago, and I didn't report it, but I want an abortion." No, that don't fly either.
Well,
but
wait. Okay. Wait. Back this up. Let's back this up. Okay, there's a few things. I want to hand it over to Stardust in a second here because I'll just give it to Stardust now. You can have it.
No. You go ahead. You go ahead.
So
I can't right now.
So the first thing I want to talk about the cloth masks. Cloth masks aren't intended to stop you from catching COVID. It's to stop you from giving COVID to other people. And you're supposed to combine that with things like social distancing to have the best effect. So it's not that like cloth masks are useless. It's useless if you're wearing it because you don't want to catch COVID. It's useful if you don't want to give other people COVID in case you have it and you haven't been tested or something like that. That's what cloth masks would be useful.
Stupid argument. Stupid conversation.
It doesn't.
You know what?
All right, good job.
He got
Can you elaborate?
He got me.
We all go home.
He got. Wait.
Can we actually have a real
Milwaukee's was making a great point. I want him to make. What was that? Say that again.
Can you elaborate on why it's stupid?
Yeah, I'd like to hear it.
Well, I can.
Well, I want to hear Milwaukee. I'm curious.
I want to hear Milwaukee.
Is a mask? Have you watched the Kim Potter trial? Have you seen these idiots?
So, what about the Kim Potter trial has to do with cloth masks and COVID?
Because they're wearing them.
And mask piece in between them. They're wearing their mask. They're taking them off every fucking couple minutes. It makes no sense. How the fuck does a cloth mask? Have you ever been in the military?
Dude, think about it.
No,
everyone wearing underwear.
I'm not a Marine.
Dylan,
no.
you're getting fucking crushed.
I'm getting crushed.
Milwaukee, think about it like a public a society
I need to get on his
where
level.
everyone pees on each other and everyone wears fucking underwear, right? When you pee, the underwear is going to trap it, and you can't spray it everywhere.
He's saying that the restrictions that they're going through in the court trial are ineffective. That's what he's saying.
Okay, so I understand. Now, I just wanted to address the second point before we let that slide for a bit. Okay.
Walk into a CX gas chamber with that fucking mask and tell me if you don't inhale any smoke.
Did you just tell me to go into a gas chamber?
Yeah, he just told you to gas yourself.
Okay.
All that,
I'm not
tear gas.
Obviously in Roblox.
I'm not gonna.
There was one good point.
I will take that. I will not take that advice. And again, the gas chamber would not disprove about what I said about giving others COVID.
Hold on. Right, to be clear, he's talking about gas chambers that we went into in the service. Okay, where you actually gain a certain respect. And respect for the gas mask and know that it works. That's the whole point of the exercise.
Yeah, the respectful gas chamber. Yeah.
Yeah, that way you can recognize when you're in an environment that you need to have your fucking mask on, right?
One that you could survive.
Yeah, he was telling me to gas myself in a polite way. I understand. Now, on the second point about women lying about themselves getting raped later to get abortions. Now, I believe women should be able to get abortions in the vast majority of cases anyway. But let's talk about this hypothetical scenario for a little bit. Now, the thing about rape is It is a crime that is extremely humiliating. It is degrading, and a lot of people don't want to have to go through the whole spectacle of a trial when it goes to them getting raped or sexually assaulted. And so what a lot of times they'll do is go on with their life and do their best to move on with their life, because that's what they want to do, because they want to forget the whole thing happened. And so then 3-4 months down the line, what do they find out? Oh my goodness, I'm pregnant with the person who violated me's baby. I think they should be able to access the abortion services that would be necessary to stop that pregnancy.
Okay. Well, first of all, wouldn't one of the first things you do in that situation, and start as being the only female should probably be the one to answer, is would you not take a pregnancy test shortly thereafter just to make sure?
It's not always the first thing you think about. The first thing you think about after experiencing something like that is usually just shock, and wanting to forget about it. There's a different mental state you're in when somebody has violated your personal autonomy like that. Not everybody thinks that way immediately. Some people do think that way, and some people are lucky to think about like getting an STD test and a pregnancy test. But even then, getting the pregnancy test, you wouldn't get it done immediately after. You would have to wait until the certain period of time. Then you can take the pregnancy test and see.
But I mean, that'd be
after a week. So, but I'm not a woman, so I cannot say how a woman will react. I know how I would react. And the first thing I'd be afraid of is that son of a bitch gave me gonorrhea. Oh my God! I need to get checked. I'm going to go down to the doctor.
Well, here's the thing: you really don't think about. Like, I can tell you from personal experience, like that was not the first thing that I was thinking. The first thing I was thinking was to lock my car. And I just sat there. Yeah, and then after that, it was only after somebody else suggested it to me that I got tested. Because I just wanted to forget about it. I was like, this feels like it was, rape, and it was like, yeah, I was. Yeah, you don't think about it in a logical way. So yeah.
Yeah. But Dylan, there's one thing that you said that I'm going to crush you on about the mask. How do you get COVID? I'll bet you get this wrong. How do you get COVID?
Transmission.
Yeah, but how? Through what transmission?
Your car.
Are you breathing it in? Is that what you think?
Your car transmission.
No, not the car.
Here's the thing that you're going to see with everybody wearing a mask, and you see it constantly. It's falling down into their nose while they're talking, and they're picking it back up and sticking. They're constantly putting their hands on that mask, okay? And they're getting germs all over their hand. They're getting it in their eyes. Bam! You just got COVID. Then you walk over and you're in the grocery store, and you're picking up your mask. It keeps dropping because it don't fit really good because it's just cloth. It doesn't have that metal thing holding it on your nose. And so you got it all over your hands, and you walk over and you pick up the Campbell's soup, and you go, no, I don't want the mushroom. Here, I want this tomato.
Clam chowder.
And you put that
clam chowder. Only clam chowder.
And you pick up that mushroom, and now you got COVID because you touched your eyes. You don't necessarily have to breathe it in.
I agree that there are people you don't necessarily have to breathe it in. That's true. You can get it through touching your face. A lot of people don't know that.
Right.
But the problem is, I agree with you that if somebody wears or does any practice in a wrong manner or incorrectly, then it's going to increase your chances of having COVID, or it's going to decrease the effectiveness of that deterrent. But that is not an argument against wearing a mask. That is an argument against wearing a mask improperly.
Yeah, but nobody, unless you're a doctor, nobody.
What about against a mask mandate? Is that a decent argument against a mask mandate? Right.
Well, the thing is, even if you're doing it like this and you're constantly bringing it up, it's still going to have a percentage effect on your odds of not catching COVID, because even a lot of it's confirmation bias, because most of us, when we see somebody do that, we're thinking to ourselves, we got you. I saw that. You think I didn't see? I saw it. The vast majority of people aren't doing that. It's still there. But it is still going to have an effect, even if you're not doing it particularly the best way possible, unless you're literally doing chin diaper.
They knew that. I just want to stand up for that social distancing was basically ineffective before COVID, and then they confirmed it shortly after, like all the lockdown. It's basically like after everything calmed down. And after we started like pumping out vaccines, they
occurred.
confirmed that like there were all the studies were released that like yes, like social distancing 6 feet apart doesn't really matter if you're all indoors and you're all breathing the same air. It doesn't actually matter. You have the same level of like transmissibility, and if you're not wearing an N95 mask, it's not really doing shit.
I just want to stand up for Milwaukee for 1 second. While he missed the point, I think what his point was is that in the Kim Potter trial, everyone is walking when they come or walking around the courtroom, they all have their masks on. But as soon as they go to speak, which is where the transmission, you spreading the particles, is when they take the masks off. Now they have partitions around to mitigate that, but that does raise the risk of, if you're not talking, the mask isn't doing as much, but if you take the mask off to speak, you're kind of negating that.
Occurred.
Right. And the other thing is they're going in there and they're calling up a witness. He comes in, he sits down at the stand, okay, after being sworn in, and they say, take off your mask. So they touch the mask, so what's on their hands, okay? And then they're picking up the little laser pointer and they're pointing it over and they're putting it back down, and their hands are on the damn table in front of them. And then they put the mask back on when they're done, and they get off and they go out and they call the next witness. Nobody sprays nothing, no Lysol, no nothing. They sit down in the same damn chair, take their mask off, and they're putting their hands on the laser pointer and the desk and everything else, and then they're putting it in their face, and they're getting a drink of water, and they're spreading it all over themselves, and then they put the mask back on when they're done. What good did that do?
Sounds like a party to me.
Okay, it doesn't do anything. Okay, and so
the Macarena over there.
So
it's all an illusion, is what it is.
So what if I told you? What if I told you that the Second Amendment was silly because of a lack of trigger discipline? Now, is the answer to that to get rid of all the guns because it doesn't work anyway if no one's doing trigger discipline, or to teach people proper trigger discipline? The answer to me would be to teach people proper trigger discipline. Just like when it comes to these masks, the true thing would be to treat people how to properly use masks, properly social distance. I'm trying to find
He's explaining it right now.
No, it's a point.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a bridge to agree with people, because one of the things I agree with conservatives on usually is guns. I'm very pro Second Amendment.
I'll help you out. I think it would be like
having a safety,
just
let Dylan
a
go.
safety. I just feel like a safety on the gun would
yeah,
be a
you
better
feel
analogy.
you have feelings. They're validated. Okay, Dylan, go.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is that I think here the problem isn't. The problem is people improperly using the firearm and not knowing how to use the firearm properly, and they're screwing around with it. That's what's causing these problems, right? Not properly containing them, not properly using them. And the same goes with any of these practices. When it comes to COVID, the problem would be people not properly social distancing, people not properly wearing their masks, people not properly doing what is necessary to keep them and their families safe, particularly elderly and those who have problems with their breathing and reason to be predisposed.
Like putting COVID patients into nursing homes. Right.
I guess that would be an example of that. So my thing is the solution isn't to just
that you have a 99.9% survival rate of.
99.5, be precise. But the thing is, now you do realize that that still means 800,000 Americans have died.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I'm not negating it.
No. I'm talking Milwaukee. Milwaukee's downgrading it. That's 800,000 dead Americans. That's a lot of dead people. Yeah. That's a national tragedy, right, Milwaukee?
It is.
I'm asking Milwaukee. I want to hear Milwaukee. He seems interested. Well, I can't hear him for some reason.
Occurred.
Hi, Tiberius.
I think your hardware muted, Milwaukee.
How's it going?
What's up, Tiberius?
Hey, what's up, Tiberius? How are you doing, buddy?
Good to see everybody.
100,000 Americans die of other things daily.
From one specific
and
thing.
That's bad too.
I'll actually chime in on this one. There's about 2.9 million Americans that die every single year. It might be up to like 3.2 last I checked. But anyway, long story short here, there's only one thing that COVID didn't beat in 2020, and that was heart disease. Everything else it beat. So that does show the gravity in which what we're talking about.
Yeah, but how much of the change is due to some deaths being conflated by flu deaths? Do we still track the same number of average flu deaths that we did before, or are those numbers being combined?
I'm not sure to that one, but what I can tell you is that if people are going to like get into the numbers of how much did the flu actually matter, we saw a 30% jump in the death rate.
From what? Oh, you mean the overall death rate?
Yeah, the overall death rate jumped by about 30%.
That is a significant number.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would also like to say that that doesn't even cover.
Wait, what?
No, I know here in Wisconsin, you died in a car crash and you had the COVID. They charged the COVID. That was your death. End of story.
End of story.
Okay, so even if that's true, right? How many of those cases are going to be the norm, right? Is that 10,000? Is it 100,000? I mean, the problem is you're playing with statistics here, and you can make the argument that, yeah, the statistics might be a little flawed, but, I mean, you know, what? You're going to knock out 100,000? Cool. 700,000 people have now died. Like, come on, guys.
Again, this doesn't cover the amount of health effects it's going to have on the millions of Americans who caught it but didn't die. And the long-term health effects they're going to have when it comes to their lungs or heart issues that's going to come with heart disease. We're talking about heart disease earlier. There's a lot of heart issues that are correlated with COVID.
Yeah, and I would also say that this we
Not
can write off
issue
certain
to
numbers.
smoking a cigarette or taking, I don't know. Yeah, you got influenza. You got the flu tomorrow.
Okay.
Which is worse?
Right. So you
Address chat. Hold on.
There.
I got to address chat. We got Danabo in the chat over here saying you're a bad man, CTV. I don't know what that's about. Right. And then we got another situation in the chat where I have someone that is being inflammatory towards panelists, which is definitely not something that we're supposed to be doing around here. Right. It's something I take a pretty hard line with, even when I'm on somebody else's panel. So I don't understand why it is that there is a moderator that feels like that this is supposed to be acceptable behavior. Yeah, Dylan sucks. We all get it, right? We get that. The hell does that have to do with my principles of civility whenever I'm hosting the fucking panel? Did anybody else forget who's fucking hosting the thing right now?
I am challenging.
Shut the fuck up. Now's not the time.
I'm challenging Dylan. I'm sticking up for you.
Well, I solved this problem. No worries. No worries. I'll solve it. Problem solved. Okay? I like having civil conversations, and I realize that while other people, I try to make sure that I get around the room, everybody gets a chance to speak, and especially people that have opposing points of view, that they get a chance to be able to explain themselves, right? We all know Dylan sucks. It is what it is, right? I mean, look at that man. He looks like he sucks, quite a bit, And in what way, we don't know. But you know what? There it is.
In all the best ways.
Probably, I don't know. So like, I don't know what do you want me to do here, right? So we have an opposing point of view.
The conservatives don't want you to know that you don't want me to know that I also swallow. You don't want to bring it up. Conservatives don't want to address that fact. Conservatives don't want to address that.
We've had to mute him. Look, he just.
I knew he was a conservative.
Jesus, and there's Nacho now. Oh, we're going around the room. Anybody else? Okay. Nobody else. Okay. Now, jeez, my goodness. So. This is like the problem. We're a whole community here. We're a whole community. We all work together to be able to have good conversations. My job is to facilitate that in this moment. So I'm going to throw it back out to everybody, and I'm going to hope that everybody in the chat that I pay attention to specifically understands the moniker of how we operate around here. And MPU, if you want to jump in here, buddy, feel free. Dylan, take it away.
Conservatives don't want to address the fact that I also swallow. They don't want to address it.
That's a conservative principle.
If we get back on the COVID topic,
I finished my meals.
Good job.
I just wanted to mention that even if you write off some of the numbers, as you're saying, there is still we haven't accounted all the people who died in their homes. We also haven't accounted for all of the chaos
Dylan
that happened.
or
Excuse me, I'm still speaking.
CTV or
I'm still,
I want to go at Ranger.
What?
Okay,
Stardust. It was really impolite of you to interrupt him while he was interrupting you.
Yeah, like I can't believe you, Stardust. How could you interrupt someone when they're interrupting you? Like, my goodness.
Sorry.
Right, so Milwaukee, right? Stardust was talking. Now that I understand that you wish to talk, when it opens up, I'll make sure it gets back to you just like I did a few minutes ago, right?
No. He called me out in the middle of her talking point.
Oh, so you're gonna interrupt me too now? Okay.
Wow, look at that. Look at that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put that over here in the B category, and we're gonna put the A category, which is Stardust right now, back in play so that we can keep going there. Stardust, go ahead.
Sorry for making a thing. Yeah, I was just gonna say that we can write off these things, but there are plenty of people who died in their homes and don't have that diagnosis. We can look at Italy, which was completely ravaged. We can look at India, which like the rivers were overflowing with dead bodies. I mean, this is a global issue, right? This is something that we've seen the effects of on a global scale. The medical workforce was already at a shortage, and now we're even more at a shortage globally. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, so Milwaukee, you had something on your mind.
He's muted again. Nope, now.
I mean, I agree with everything she just said, so I'm just gonna let her rip you apart.
I would like to ask Stardust a question.
Hold on.
I want to listen to my main man, Milwaukee.
You know, so fun to me when you have a chance.
Yeah, Milwaukee's got the floor. Everybody else be patient.
Milwaukee.
Technical difficulties, but Milwaukee, go ahead. You're still muted.
Milwaukee, speak truth to power.
I just said CTV. Let's hear good topic. And if Dylan wants to fuck, we'll fuck.
What? Hell yeah.
That's fucking escalated.
Hell yeah.
You guys gonna exchange numbers now, or?
Very homoerotic.
Just bodily fluids.
Romance. CTV, if I may, can I ask Stardust a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Horny. Great.
Stardust, you were saying that they haven't counted people who died in their homes and stuff like that. You realize I've got friends that work at the hospital, and they tell me this. A guy comes in, he's 73 years old. He's having some breathing issues. He has COVID. It's not horrible, but they admit him, and they're giving him some drugs to try to help him. Suddenly he has a massive heart attack because he's 73 years old. Do they put it down that he died of a heart attack, or do they put it down that he died of COVID?
Well, COVID probably was the aggravating factor in this, right?
No, he was 73 years old and had a massive heart attack.
Right, but those are the risk. Those are the risk factors for COVID. If you have COVID plus pre-existing conditions and you are older, you are going to have a much harder time recovering from it.
Those are risk factors
right,
for life.
But it's a lung disease.
But it's specifically for COVID too. COVID aggravates the issues that cause death from those.
Okay, well,
the issue is dying with COVID as opposed to dying of COVID.
Yeah, COVID causes arterial inflammation, so it makes sense that that person would die from that.
Okay, but see, what they're telling me is this 73-year-old man.
I'm fucking Dylan.
Had plaque.
I'm fucking Dylan.
He had plaque in his veins, in his main arteries, okay, that had built over a long time, and he was 95% blocked, okay, because he was a smoker and everything else. And they will say he died of COVID when he didn't. They said he died of heart disease that he's had for a long time, okay, but they'll put COVID. And you know why they put COVID? Because the hospitals are getting money from the government for people they're putting in the hospital with COVID.
She literally just laid out. No. She literally just laid out for you like everything that you said. COVID literally was the death sentence for this guy. Like literally
It was
getting
the
COVID is what
aggravating
killed him.
factor. It was the aggravating factor that COVID is the last push that made that happen. I mean, yes, you can go in. People live their entire lives with heart conditions, and they manage it, and they're fine. But COVID is the aggravating factor. It's what.
Dude, this is my job. I get to come in the rooms like this for a living and just talk to people. That's crazy, man. I get to talk to some drunk conservatives for money, man. I love my life.
It was. I'm saying he had COVID, but it was a moderate, okay? He was having moderate symptoms, but his aorta was 95% blocked from being blocked over time. It was plaque. It wasn't a blood clot. It wasn't something that COVID caused, okay? He had a massive heart attack.
It.
No,
It
it was
likely aggravated
95%
it.
blocked. It didn't aggravate it. You have a 95% blocked aorta, and they don't get that cleared and get a stent in there, you're going to die of a heart attack. The problem is because they were watching his breathing so hard, they weren't doing anything else to realize he was having a problem, and suddenly had a massive heart attack because his aorta was 95% blocked.
All right,
Okay?
dude. I gotta hit you on this, dude, because like what she is actively saying and what you are actually saying is that this guy had 95% of his air filter on his car plugged, and then COVID comes along, and it's basically the equivalent of a rock that plugs the final 5%, and it killed him. Like literally, this is like, hey, guess what? This plus COVID equals death.
Okay, I understand.
I'm just trying to get my stent in Dylan's aorta, you know?
But Dylan, you're not understanding, and I realize that when you start getting around my age,
you're not gonna hit on me too, are you?
Okay? So
What?
you start getting sick. But if you have
Wait a second. What do you think we've been doing this whole past year? Have you not been picking up on the hints?
Yeah, when you're dressed like that, I mean, you're asking for it.
Wolfman.
Whoa. Okay, I'm not on board with that, but whatever.
The Speedo was always for you, Dylan. The Speedo was always for you.
The Speedo.
Oh, fuck nuggets, man.
Yeah. But I just feel, Dylan, you're not understanding what I'm saying. It didn't block the rest of the way.
One of the important things that you're touching on,
wait. To be clear, you're not talking to me. You're talking to Stardust and Tiberius. You're talking to the. I didn't talk about that yet.
Yeah.
I
got long hair like Stardust. I understand.
We look a lot alike.
Yeah, they're like twins.
Well, no, I was just saying that it wasn't 95% and then block the other 5%. No, it didn't block the other 5%. He was 95% blocked, and that's what caused the heart attack because it wasn't pumping the blood through his system the way it's supposed to because it was 95% blocked.
Right. What I can say is that if his breathing was already not good, if he was having trouble breathing because of COVID, and then he had the 95.
Oh my god. Yo. Milwaukee, this guy, he looks like a drunk skinhead infrared. Oh my goodness, it just clicked in my mind. He's a drunk skinhead infrared. That's crazy, man.
And he would have had a heart attack that night no matter what.
No, that's the inverse. No, that's the inverse assumption. Okay, is that you were assuming that he was going to have a heart attack that night? We don't know, right? That's the problem.
He might have had it the next morning. Okay, sure. I'm just saying that when you're blocked 95% in your aorta, you're a dead man if they don't immediately do an angiogram and stent that son of a bitch or do a bypass.
Before we go forward, I'd like to point something out from chat. We got from Only a Mr. Bill. The flu has been the aggravating factor for many illnesses and deaths over the decades, but those illnesses were still considered the reason for the death and not the flu. That seems pretty curious.
That's true. Okay. It is. And that's what I'm saying. Okay, because the hospitals are getting money for putting people in the hospital with COVID from the government. Okay, to help because they can't afford. You know how much it costs to put somebody on a ventilator? My God. And I guarantee you, if I had to get put on a ventilator tonight, I sure couldn't pay it. So who's going to pay it? The hospital's going to end up eating it. And of course, the prices are going to go up, but the government is giving them money to help cover that. law.
Right. Can you explain to me like how that works? Like can you elaborate on the government giving them money, exactly how that works and stuff?
Yeah, they do their reports every single month, turn them into the hospital, and said this month we've had, 55 patients with COVID, and the government is giving them money. Okay,
Okay.
that was set up through Trump.
Which government agency does it go to, and who in the hospital gives the reports to them? What type of reports are these?
I hadn't got that deep and said, okay, who do you give it to? Who signs the check? I mean, it's just it's what Trump set up to help the hospitals so that they didn't go under because of COVID.
Well, I can answer that.
There were a lot, you had the regular people having heart attacks and stuff that were being put in the hospital, and then suddenly you have this massive amount of people and filling up the hospital with COVID, and so they were drowning, they were in trouble. So the government started supplementing them, just like they do to everybody else. Okay, when a bank's starting to go under, what do? They give the banks money. Okay,
Right.
and
That's a
what they were
poor
doing with the
comparison.
hospital.
Banks went under and banks had to get bailed out because banks gave out too many mortgages.
Right.
That's completely different than a hospital with their hands tied behind their back and their ICU being overcrowded.
Well, no. I'm just saying it's the same payout. They're just paying. The government is paying out.
I'm just curious to which government, which government department is paying, and
probably
how
the health
exactly
department. I don't know.
Okay, but how exactly does this work? To make this assertion, like I would need to know how this works.
Okay, well, I will have to start doing some research on it because I know Trump set it up. I remember it. Okay, he said, "Look, the hospitals are being overrun. We got to get them out. Okay, and bail them out." And so they said, "We're going to give you tax money because and we're going to buy you N95 masks. We're going to make sure you get all that."
Should we not have done that?
Huh?
Milwaukee Beast, this guy just sent me a message just saying let's roll. I don't know what's going on here, man.
COVID, did not die from COVID, but died from old age, had a sudden aneurysm in their brain because they've been carrying this aneurysm around forever. So they stroked out when it blew up. Okay, and they're saying,
How
"Well,
do
he
they
had
know
COVID."
they had COVID?
So they're putting on the death certificate, death by COVID. They're
How
not
do they know
saying,
they had COVID if they died?
huh?
How do they know if they had COVID if they died, if they had an aneurysm?
The same way that you find out because they do blood tests and they send them in and you come up with COVID. Okay,
Yeah,
and then
autopsy.
they say it's the same thing that he was saying that they do with the flu. The flu kills a lot of people. Okay, and it exacerbates people who are older, but they die of a heart attack. It goes down as a heart attack. It doesn't go down as a flu. Okay.
Do you know
but,
the side effects of COVID?
Yes. I have friends that were in the hospital on ventilators and thank God lived. One did not. Okay, but he wasn't a good friend. I just knew who he was. Okay.
Okay. So
And
one
it's
of the side effects
debilitating.
is aneurysms
Okay. Huh?
from COVID.
COVID doesn't cause an aneurysm. What COVID causes is blood clots. Okay. Now, if you had a blood clot in the brain and you had COVID, okay, that's a possibility there. Okay. But an aneurysm is a weak lining in the walls, and they've been carrying it around for years and just didn't know it, and it finally blew like a balloon. Okay. Happens all the time when people stroke out.
So I can send you. There's already like there's let's see here, ruptured cerebral aneurysms in COVID-19 patients.
Okay, and how are they getting that? How are they getting that it was COVID that did it, and not because they've had this aneurysm around for years like other people before COVID who had aneurysms and just blew out and then had COVID? So what do? They mark it down as COVID. And he had an aneurysm and COVID, so COVID caused the aneurysm. Okay,
I think we were asking where does the money come from? It comes from apparently Grumble's saying it comes from the CARES Act and HHS.
How exactly does it work?
Well, it's probably based on deaths. I'm pretty sure that's what I heard, but I don't know for sure.
Okay, it's based on deaths.
That's where COVID is present, quite frankly. That's the assertion.
Yep.
Okay, I'm just gonna link a couple of things. But yeah, I would need to know exactly how that works. You're saying that it would come. I'm sorry. Can you repeat what you were saying?
Sorry, I'm distracted. I'm scared he's gonna send me another message. I don't know what he's gonna send me next, guys.
Okay.
Wait, you're what?
I'm waiting for fucking Dylan. Let's go.
What?
You want to what?
What was that? I missed that, Milwaukee. What was that?
Now we're back on track.
He said I'm waiting for fucking Dylan.
What are you ready for me for? What about what?
He's gonna serenade
So it's
you.
only they only give money for people who die from it.
That's
No.
the assertion, I think. Yeah.
It's all COVID cases that they hospitalize.
Okay, well there you go.
Okay.
Everyone they had to stick on a ventilator, there was like money that was going to hospitals based on patients that went on ventilators or something like that.
Yeah, there was ventilators, and then it got to be more because they were keeping it.
I don't know.
Because when they go
had a
into the
ventilator
hospital,
shortage, I thought.
Now, Dylan, what do you want to name the topic about? Let's go.
What? What was that?
Can I? I'll caveat just one thing. I to reiterate, at least in my hospital system where I live, it goes based off of ICD code, right? When the ICD code comes through and it gets billed, and obviously the government has government payers, right? They control Medicare, Medicaid, and all the forms of it. So essentially, it was incentivized for hospitals to produce more ICD codes involving COVID in order to capitalize on this money. However,
Can you understand what an ICD code is, real quick? Sorry.
So essentially,
diagnosis code. Basically, they give an ICD code for diagnosis. So if a patient comes in with something, there's a certain code associated with the condition that they have that they'll assign.
Then it's related to the
patient for billing.
diagnosis, not necessarily the death or a serious disease, right? Is that right,
Correct.
Rogue? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So
And that's
I
what
mean,
I was
I think this is a completely different topic than what we were on. We were talking about vaccine mandates, and then it kind of went down into this.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is
Well,
completely
we've
separate.
been
I don't think
traveling on all kinds of-
hospitals are to blame for taking advantage. Corporations take advantage of taxes all the time. I don't understand why it's so heinous for a hospital to do it, who's struggling, who's short-staffed, whose ICU is completely overpopulated. That's just my take, but.
Well,
If I could speak on it for just a second, where the lack of faith comes into it is you have it's anecdotal, but the case of the guy that got killed on a motorcycle and they tested his corpse and found out that he was tested positive for COVID, and they listed his cause of death as COVID when the motorcycle accident apparently had nothing to do with it. When you have stories like that, it makes it kind of hard to make the leap of faith to your argument.
Wait, is Milwaukee gone?
It looks like
so.
he left.
I mean,
Yeah.
okay,
Well, I'm out of here.
if
He was the
we-
most fun of this whole thing. Okay, see you guys later. Well, that blows. What was up with that guy? Oh my goodness. What a character. I don't even I wish I knew how to describe such an interesting fellow. Very interesting.